What is the worst thing that can happen to you after working on your dream game for over 500 days? Well, maybe the second worst thing happened to me. Another game has the same name. So I did what any normal, passionate indie developer would do and blew up my entire game and started over. At first I thought this was going to be a huge negative, but it turned out to be a positive and possibly saved my game. Here's the original idea that me and my art guy Hades have been working on for the last year and a half. A funny story on the classic top-down roguelike game. We had all the fundamentals built, a random dungeon generator, ability upgrades, boss fights, you know, everything to make another copycat roguelike that you can find on Steam. So in our search for a new name, we realized that we didn't want to join the ranks of mediocrity. We wanted something more, something slightly above mediocrity. Before we go any further, we need to quickly register our new Steam page with our new name and fully commit to the idea. Fire and Brim Co. Wishlist now. And with this new name immortalized on Steam forever, I'm ready to tell you what will make this game slightly above mediocrity. It's not because we're the greatest developers, designers, or artists. I mean, it's our first real game after all. But what we do have is a messed up sense of humor and jokes that some of you will find funny. So that is what we're going to lean into. I mean, the idea of a demon employee working at a corporate office just lends itself to humor, let alone things you can do with bosses like lust. Knowing that our game is going to be more of a story-driven RPG than a roguelike, and we're pretty much starting over from scratch, other than some player code and sprites that we're going to reuse, we're going to follow 3 simple rules to complete this game. Number 1, simplicity is king. Our original ability system was going to be insane, with thousands of possibilities merging abilities together, but nope. 3 abilities that can be upgraded through pickups and skill points. Number 2, don't reinvent the wheel. I previously spent months building a custom dialogue editor that was worse than something I could pick up from the asset store for a couple of dollars. So thank you, Pixel Crushers, for saving me hundreds of hours. And number 3, stay consistent. It took us over 500 days on our first attempt because we couldn't stay consistent. This time, if we don't post an update every 2 weeks till the game is launched, you can vote on a punishment for me. But I can tell you in the weeks of restarting, we have already made huge updates. Now when you start the game, you enter in a main office hub that doesn't look like garbage. In fact, let me take you on a little tour. When you first start the game, you're in your little office. It's pretty empty right now, but you'll be able to unlock items to fill up the office. Walking through the first hallway, you get to see all your coworkers grinding away on a variety of sites. I'm not gonna say what they are, but I'm pretty sure you can guess. At the top, you have the reception area and the elevator that will take you from level to level. And on the right, you have your manager's office. There are some fun references here that you may not be able to figure out from this quick shot, but you'll have to wait for the official demo to be released. Subscribe if you want to be notified of that. Finally, we have the last 2 areas, which I think look the best. The break room, fully loaded with a ping pong table, which will have an unlockable tournament, an arcade machine that's fully playable, and all the necessities to do your corporate job. Also, accidents happen, and that's why the last room is the nurse's office, ready to heal you when you die. And I guarantee you will die a lot. Sticking with rule number 1 of simplicity, the next thing on the list to make Fire and Brim Co playable was a tutorial. We went with the most obvious tutorial. You go talk to your manager and he shows you where all the budget has been going. His hidden dojo. You unlock your first 2 abilities, you learn how to dash across holy water and complete a boss fight. I will admit, rule number 2 allows me to finally go on natty. I've never injected my games with assets before, and it was a learning curve, but now the speed that I can create complex dialogue with custom events happening, like dropping keys, swapping stages, is amazing and will really benefit the overall game development. The second piece of juice I used was Behavior Designer, but to understand why I used an asset for a simple boss fight, I had to let you know something. I love boss fights. It doesn't matter if it's WoW's Race to World First or Cuphead. A well-designed boss fight can make or break a game. I was going down a rabbit hole of AI when I first came across behavior trees, most notably used in Halo 2. But then I saw a video of how to recreate the False Knight from Hollow Knight, and I knew I had to add this juice to my stack. Behavior Designer visualizes the behavior tree process and makes it really simple to see what's happening. I will admit behavior trees do have their downside as it's a constant loop, so integrating dialogue throughout the fight was a little bit tricky. But I ended up figuring out a simple approach for the fight. Start with the behavior tree disabled. Trigger the dialogue to start the fight. At the end of the dialogue, trigger a function to enable the behavior tree. When a new stage of the fight occurs, I disable the behavior tree and the dialogue is triggered. Rinse and repeat. After a little tweaking and bug fixing, the tutorial is now done and playable. As you can see, it took us 500 days to make an unfinished, mediocre roguelike, and by having the worst happen to us and restarting, our game is becoming an enjoyable, unique experience. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the changes, and stay tuned for more updates as we have some crazy things in the works. Yeah.